this Superman. Yeah, I don't know how many of you seen this new Superman movie, and if you enjoyed it. I saw the Superman movie. I have my opinion of it. I thought it was pretty good film. I mean, it was mid, and mid is uh the new standard for good. That's how I feel. But the depiction of Superman himself was incredible. I did enjoy that depiction of Superman. We know that Superman is truly Moses, Kal-El, the voice of God, or Kor-El. I believe that's how they say it in Hebrew. But yeah, we know that he's actually Moses, the child who was picked from a land, put down on the river, and sent up to be raised by foreigners. And that's very similar to the Superman story. And it's funny, and the Man of Steel, he mentioned he traveled through an ocean of stars to get there. So that's just one of those references. But I guess you can also make the Jesus reference to Superman as well. But it was written by two Jewish men, and it was written by two Jewish characters. It's very obvious that leading people stick is that he's trying to show people that you if you continue, if you evolve and take on these characteristics that I possess and follow me, you'll also find that you have great power. And he's always emphasizing it. And he pulls from that by embodying the ways of humanity. But let's just talk a little bit about this film in particular. For those that don't might not know, I have worked in film. You can IMDb my name, Talib Kearns. I never paid for an IMDb page, but if you have syndicated broadcasting credits, they are obligated to give you a page. So you can go see that I've worked on movies, TV shows, commercials, everything under the sun. And so I currently have a book out. I would love for you to pick up my book. If we could even get 25 to 30 people in here tonight while we live stream it, I'm gonna go ahead and start reading some of the prequel to you so you can get a taste of Beyond the Veil, Shatterpoint. It's a trilogy book, a trilogy series that I'm writing. It's three fantastical books that cover every range of conspiracy theory. There's a lot of truth hidden in it, but it's my contribution to the world of sci-fi, because I don't feel like you should complain about this stuff and not have your own creative thoughts that you want to share with the world. So I have put something out there for you to share. You can go to Amazon, and it's also on Kindle, and it's called Beyond the Veil, Shatterpoint. Please check it out. But let's just talk about this Superman film a little bit. First of all, um, I'm hearing a lot of people complaining about how the movie started, has just thrown in, and it was exposition, and it was in the middle. And I'm like, well, okay, that's a fair complaint, but it's not like it's a complaint that it's not an unfamiliar territory for us. We've all seen Star Wars. Star Wars. I feel for the number of illiterate people back in the day that went to see Star Wars and had to ask a friend what the hell is going on, because if you didn't read that intro, then you'd had no idea. In the movie, someone starts in the middle, and it also has this weird progression from the middle of the story, even though you feel like you're following Luke at the beginning of the story. It's not technically the beginning of the story. It's not the beginning of anybody's story in Star Wars, but yet still it's something we've all grown to accept because we like the lore, we like the characters, we like how the material was handled. So in this particular instance, we were just thrown in, and I'm gonna tell you now, spoilers. The movie's out. It's been out. We've been talking about it all week. So this is my spoiler review for the film. Okay. So the movie starts out with them mentioning the 300 years that metahumans have been on the planet, and then at 30, years from that date, Superman came to Earth, and it goes in this three cycles of three. Once again, this is we if you know, if you understand the symbolism and how they like to play with numbers, then you get that, right? Okay, so we see Superman, and here's one of the things that I get why people are very unhappy, or why they even feel initially why it's not correct. Well, because one of the main things that they do in this film in the very beginning is you don't see Superman in his full glory. You don't experience Superman in his full glory until I would say somewhere around the end of the film, and even that can be interpreted subjectively, right? You don't see him ever really at full power, you know, and that is a very disturbing aspect of the film when you're looking at how they decide to play this. You know, the first glimpse we get of the character, there is no backstory. And let me tell you, for me, I really enjoy the fact that there is no backstory. I'm really tired of them, well, not backstory, but excuse me, that there is no origin story in this. I'm tired of origin stories. The only origin story should be in this is the origin of the world that he's attempting to build out for us. We should have some sort of understanding of the world that we're inhabiting, but we don't, right? And that's one of the setbacks. Another thing is that there is a thing about writing that people who write and understand this and do it well, and at least well, and as in they write something cohesively, is if you set up your script and everything that follows is and then you know, it was like Superman hits the ground, and then he whistles for Krypto, and then Krypto pulls him into the thing, and then the robots come over and help him, and then they put him in the machine, and then the sun comes down on him and gives him energy. Then he just jumps out. Then he complains about what's going on at the forces Satu. Then he goes to leave to go back to fight again. Then the dog begins to cry at him. Then he looks at him like he's gonna say something, but then he just flies away. Then we cut to, like, you know, to the villain, and he's monologuing. Then Superman finally shows up. Then the guys, and this is fundamentally, this is what you would call a bad script. It shouldn't be in then. It should be Superman landed in the snow and hit the ground because, but there should be a button there, and it because he hit the ground, and that led to this action, and that because of this action, this happened. But because of that, and this is how we build out our story, where we build suspense, we build the connection, and that's seriously lacking. This is more like a Saturday morning cartoon, and I'm sort of okay with that, because, you know, I'm really tired of the obsession of rebranding these characters, reintroducing these characters that's been around for almost 100 years. We're talking about iconic characters that you can go to third world countries and say these characters' name and people know who they are. This is not something we have to keep revisiting, right? But let's just continue on. So Superman goes and ends up, you know, we start the film with him getting hurt, Krypto helping him, and him we see and be introduced to the Fortress of Solitude, and going in there and finding that they're going very much. James Gunn is obviously a person that understands the comics. He understands the source material, because if you're somebody that's into that, the place is riddled with Easter eggs. There's a ton of them, and the robots themselves is a welcome addition, because it is something that is from the comics. It's something that's even from the cartoons. It's something that he had at his disposal and was a part of his environment, because he was a lonely alien, not lonely totally, but, you know, he was alone. He cared about things. You know, he had a zoo. He went to different planets. He saved things. Superman's thing was not to kill, but in this film, he's like super humble. He's like a nice guy. Even when he's angry and he's having this conversation with Lois, he's doing it in a way where it just feels genuine and sincere, and it doesn't feel like he's leading to having a tantrum or blowing up, right? Even when he gets fed up with because she's not understanding his point, and he feels a certain way about how she's questioning him, how he even decided to leave, was still very within the vein, I would say, of a respectful person, right? How he handled that. He didn't seem threatening, right? And I think James Gunn handled that aspect of it amazingly, right? But at the same time, he spent a lot of time on the ground. He was constantly getting punched and beat up, and, you know, there's a moment in the film where Superman is, you know, arrested, and then they shoehorn in this weird. It feels under. I'm gonna tell you what I feel is going on, just from my personal perspective, and from my dealings in Hollywood and dealing with films and seeing how they like to do things. I'm going to predict this right now for you. When it comes to DVD, there is going to be at least a 3-hour cut of this film that's going to come out, because his original cut for this movie, his original filming of this movie is 4 hours worth of content, right? We had to do reshoots. They didn't like certain things. So I'm watching a movie and I can tell, as an editor and a filmmaker and someone who does these things, I'm looking at it and going, okay, this scene is picked from somewhere. There's additional, even if it's say 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, additional of scenes, that removed time alters the whole concept and the whole context of what we're watching, right? I feel like if James Gunn was going to go ahead and be a little over the top, then they should have just leaned all into it. I think that the movie runtime is its biggest hindrance, because there's no way to fit in that runtime, the development space needed for that many characters. And I'll say, I've heard a lot of people say there's a lot of characters. And let me just say that I did this. I watched The Man of Steel after I saw the new Superman. Went, watched Man of Steel, and I was pretty taken back, because I realized in that, and I'm someone who I got, long ago, I was in the chat. He don't know who I am, but Tyrone Magnus was, when he was one of the people that, I always liked this guy. He's amazing. If I finish what I'm doing, I really would have loved to see him acting in some of the things that I would like to have come out. But I was saying to him that I thought The Man of Steel was the most realistic depiction of Superman in the chat, and he went in on me like I wasn't right, like, and then later he's like, okay, I love it. I get it. You can change your mind over time and you watch a couple more times. But what I saw when I first saw The Man of Steel was, wow, Zack Snyder just created, what if Superman was real? Not a comic book character, not a cartoon. What if we had a reality where this guy was actually here, right? And that's, I think if you go into The Man of Steel like that and you watch The Man of Steel is probably one of the best depictions of Superman. Not for the adaptation of the character, that would always be Christopher Reeves, but in the sense of, if you ever wanted to see what would it be like if Superman was real, not a deconstruction. What if Superman was evil? What if Superman was bad? No, what if Superman was real? And when you see what happens to Metropolis at Man of Steel, that's a more accurate depiction of what it would be like if some guy who has to focus all his mental powers, when he touches you, not to break all the bones in your body. This makes sense to see when he gets hit, he goes flying through a building by someone of equal strength. He destroys and levitates. It's not his intention. He's not trying to destroy things. He's literally getting beat up. But the interesting thing was, even when he was fighting Zod, he was getting beat up, he still seemed tough. We never saw a bunch of blood and wounds on him. He seemed almost invincible, tired, worn out, because he's running up against the same level of strength as himself, but he didn't seem weak. This one, I understand that this is 3 years into him being Superman, but I do also understand I don't know, the strength level that he had was, once again, I feel like this is a big problem in Hollywood. They don't understand the power dynamic of these characters, because they're trying to still these people who make these movies. I'm gonna tell you, we got lucky getting somebody like James Gunn, but we also got lucky getting somebody like, I guess not really lucky, but at least somebody, well, Zack Snyder wasn't, he became, okay, in all fairness, let's just stick to the James Gunn. We got lucky getting James Gunn, because James Gunn is somebody that if you went to his house, bro, you're gonna find comic books. That's a real thing. He's got the books. He was geeking out on it, right? So that's a great thing. So when I'm looking at this James Gunn interpretation of Superman, and I'm watching him get beat up left and right, and it's this jokey kind of aspect to him, to the scene itself, right? It never feels dire, and never feels, when a dimensional rift opens up in your city, we should feel more panic, right? It didn't feel panic. It felt rushed, right? And this is what I mean by the edit, right? And here's one of the things that sort of, and I can see what people's problem is. The problem is the only way you can watch a movie is if you suspend your disbelief. The suspension of disbelief is to say that I can sit here and know that this movie is not real, and I'm okay with that, right? And I'm going to allow myself to bypass the fact I know it's not real and act as if this is real. I'm going to enjoy it as if this is happening. So it's very important for the film, the director, the people in charge of the movie, when they make this movie, that you are engaged in the movie. If you're engaged, you'll look past loopholes, you'll look past bad writing, certain things that all films have that you don't pay attention to because you're suspension of disbelief. The problem now is with movies like this, they pull you out of your suspension of disbelief. The moment you get pulled out of this, you can't help but see it's a movie. And when you see it's a movie, you're going to see the production of the movie, which you're going to see the flaws, the acting, the timing, the rhythm, right? And once you see that and that's being poorly executed, then it's hard. You're gonna be unwilling to commit to the rest of the film, right? And I think some of that is happening with this. But here's the thing: if you would have made this movie, it doesn't matter if you would have made this movie. If you'd have made this movie during the time of the Man of Steel or something like that, it wouldn't. It would have flopped. It would completely flop. The reason that this movie I see is going to do good because of the ADHD nature of this film. This film is moving fast. It is all over the place. It isn't. It's coherent, as in it's completely linear in nature, but how it approaches that linear nature is literally all over the place, right? And I'm gonna give you another example of this linear nature of the film that just completely doesn't make any sense. We enter season 8 of Game of Thrones level time traveling in this film. At one point, Lex is trying to set up Superman to get him away from the Fortress of Solitude so that him and his cohorts can sneak inside and do whatever nefarious things villains do. Okay, so they set out a little monster, and this monster overnight, which we don't know what time of night, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say this movie is taking place. I see people in jackets. It could be springtime, or it could be the beginning of or the end of summer going into fall, like October. This movie could be taking place in October, or it could be taking place in April, right? I'm not sure, right? But either way, so he lets this creature go, and overnight it turns into a towering 100-foot monster. It's almost as big as a skyscraper, right? Um, Hold on, I have Mr. Mello. Peace up. What's up, Mr. Mello? Thank you for joining. Do you feel like most movies and TV shows exhibit the same level of linear hyper focus? Uh yes, and I will tell you why. Because it seems we are in a time now where there is a system. They make one piece of content and it sticks, and then they go, okay, we must reproduce this formula, and it becomes formulaic, right? And they do that until they literally exhaust it as a form of revenue, right? And it feels like, once again, because of you know what it's like too. It's also like this, Mello. Check this, man. With the way they're doing these horrible films and making us accept mediocrity. You ever listen to the radio, or you remember? I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure the radio still exists. So, you listen to the radio or you hear a song you don't like, and now you're forced to listen to that song 7 times a day. And now, first you hate this song. Now a couple days go by, you go, I don't like it, but I do like the melody. And then I like the hook, I like the chorus, and the next thing you know, it's my jam, right? And they know if they could just condition, okay, to get into the fortress. Okay, Superman's super fast, so you figure he's at that city now, right? Um, oh, it stopped for you. Did it stop for you too? Okay, hold on. I had a little issue with the chat. Okay, we back up. Thank you. Hey, Mello, I appreciate Mr. Mello. I appreciate you, man, for letting me know we were down there because I was just in a moment. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, as I was saying with the Superman film. Okay, so Superman flies from his fortress to go defeat this giant monster that Lex has set off on the city, which is a crazy convoluted scheme for him to sneak into the fortress Solitude. He gets in there. He defeats all the robots. You would figure that they would have better protocol, but the engineer, the lady with him in a commercial with the blade hands, she destroys everything effortlessly. Krypto comes out. She basically suffocates the dog on screen, and then he discovers the message that he's been listened to, that's been broken, and the engineer decrypts it. I mean, if you don't know who the engineer is, you can't possibly believe that she was able to encrypt this message before him and his space alien AI who come from Krypton. You would figure they would be able to fix it. But she is a special nanite being. I don't understand why our earthly nanites are so great that they would be able to decipher this extraterrestrial alien artificial intelligence that writes its own alien code. But that's neither here nor there. This would require you to start thinking, and the movie doesn't want you to do that. Okay, so fine. So Superman's off. He finds the thing, and here's where it gets really dark. And you go, James, I don't know why he does this. This is they don't know how to create tension without being weird and political for some reason. And well, I do know the reason, and we'll touch on that when we get into the Transurfing after this review. But here's what, like, I'm sorry, it literally was like, why did you? And for my mind, why would you do that, right? But the Jarrell message from his father ends up getting decrypted. This is all in the same scene now, guys. Just keep this in mind. Time has gone by. He's still over here fighting the monster. This much time hasn't gone by, okay? He's over here, and the time before he can even defeat the monster, he's recreated the message completely, heard it, downloaded it, okay? The message is just where it gets weird and sick. I don't even know why they would play with something like this. It doesn't make sense to me. Jarrell, the father of Superman, tells him in the second half of a message that he should get a harem of women and to subjugate all the humans because they're weak and morally vapid and inferior to him. And he should spread the seed of Krypton and impregnate as many women as he can so the seed of Krypton can live again. What? Where did this Nazi-esque, where did this come from? Like, I get Zod was like that. They left out the fact that, yeah, there were genetically engineered people on Krypton. They were pretty much some racist people to begin with, right? Like when you get into the history of them, but that was factions of them. And Jarrell was one of the good ones. So I don't understand what we're doing when we throw him in the mix and say he's supposed to say he sent his son here so he could screw a bunch of Earth girls and produce a bunch of babies that raise up to take over the earth with him. And soon, in maybe 50 to 100 years, he'll still be around for it. That, Earth population would be, massively Kryptonian. I don't know. Because if he was supposed to do that, what about the laws of Krypton? What's the point of having a bunch of Kryptonians if you don't bring the Kryptonian culture with you? Once again, I apologize. I digress because if you don't suspend your disbelief, you start thinking about this. But anyway, from this point, now Lex somehow downloads everything and then sends it to the news. I don't know how he had the news on speed dial and the file ready, edited, ready to go for the news. Somehow, from there, he had a totally different outfit on. Meanwhile, keep this in mind, he's still fighting the monster. He gets back in there, right? Drives off, flies off into the sky, goes to the news station, And as he's defeating the monster, he's ready to be aired and broadcast. What? As he's now being broadcast and Superman's being cheered on for trying to defeat the monster. By the way, which Superman's intention when trying to defeat the monster was to save the monster, to get it to safety, that it was a danger to others and itself, and it needed help. He was trying to figure out how to do this without destroying any more property and hurting any more people. Yet the Justice League wanted to take the most violent, disruptive route out. What message do you keep sending about humanity? Even the ones with powers behave like juveniles, right? And the smartest one is the one that killed him. Mr. Terrific, right? So either way, the monster defeated. People are clapping, yay. For some reason, there's television, teleprompters on all the buildings. There's 1,000 extras outside. I don't know why they're all standing around, why a giant monster is literally trying to step on them. I can understand in this world, people know superheroes exist, but there's knowing superheroes exist and knowing that insurance exists and knowing that life insurance exists and that you could die and that you've seen superheroes fight before and people get seriously injured. Why would, I'm sorry, once again, you have to, you got to turn your brain off, because if you start thinking about it, this whole thing falls apart like fast, right? But either way, now all of a sudden he's on the screen, he's on television, he's telling people Superman's a piece of crap. He came here to rule over us. Here's his father's evidence. They go, is that the real one? Can we trust that that's the real message? Yes. I've had analysts, 40 different analysts. I've had the best computer people in the world look at it. And I'm going, when? When did they do that? Is he just lying? Is that the point, that he's just lying? And if he's just lying, the news isn't going to try to verify anything? This guy's been here for 3 years, saved probably hundreds of thousands of people at this point, stopped it, got into the middle of a war. You got immigrants running up to him, helping him up in the street saying, you saved my life. And then when you hear a news report from a guy that everybody knows don't like him, it's not even a question. There's no pushback. Oh, I guess that's all the government needed. This is all the government needed to go ahead and lock him up. But not before doing a contract deal with him for a private prison that I guess they have no idea, which is in a pocket dimension, which is completely unstable by the film's logic. We won't even touch that at all. But I'll just leave that alone. We'll just move right along. And as I'm explain this, I'm realizing, wow, I enjoyed this movie probably for all the wrong reasons. You see, I'm at a point now where I don't really care. I don't really watch movies anymore to see see myself or to find the wonder in humanity. I don't do that anymore. I watch a movie merely to be momentarily entertained. So, knowing the state of films today, it's a terrible disaster for yourself to go in there expecting what Hollywood used to be, because that's not profitable for them. We don't have movie stars anymore. As you see, Henry Cavill is no longer Superman, and now is David Corenswet. And I'm okay with that. I thought he was an excellent portrayal of Superman. But you see, the problem is we just care about IP, and we don't care about the people. See, before, a movie star had power in the film. Before, they made movies and wrote scripts because they thought of those stars and the power that they possessed as an actor and what they brought to the screen. Those people made movies, and we went to see them. Now we just go to see IPs. I didn't go to see David Corenswet as Superman. I don't even know who he is. As of recently, I discovered, doing my due diligence, I discovered that everyone in this that in the industry is nepotized. They're famous, they're nepos. Period. And they can say, well, it's okay, it's fine. If we're going to go ahead and go there, we might as well just accept it for what it is. Then that goes. I had to find out, who is this guy? Well, guess what? David Corenswet, his grandfather, is the guy who invented Choose Your Own Adventure books. And when I discovered that, I got downright excited. Because guess what? I read those books. I loved them. And that means he grew up with that man. So I got to give this guy a chance. That's my mindset anyway. And you know what? He was damn good as Superman. Did he have much material to work with? No, he didn't. But I don't think that's what the point of this film was. I think this film is one of those films that are going to mean something after 3 more films come out and 4 more TV shows. Then you're going to go back and you're going to watch this Superman, and it's going to be the greatest thing you've ever seen, because all of the context and information and the stuff that's going to make you really care about it is going to be within a world that he's building out. Because they don't give us movies anymore. They give us commercials leading to the next project. That's all we get now. See, before they made a movie and they didn't think about part 2. They didn't think about part 2. That was based on how good that movie did. If people liked it. Now you just get a part 2 because we got to pump out 5 of these. Well, what if people don't like it? Don't matter. You think you're not going to get a season 2 of Ironheart, just like you thought you wasn't going to get a season 2 of The Acolyte and Ahsoka and any of these other shows. You will be getting a season 2. Believe that. They'll be giving it to you, and you will be getting it. Those are facts. That's right, Mel. Every TV show and movie is just a cliffhanger. If it's good, they don't even know what to do with it. I'll give you an example. Severance was a great show for the first season, but they had no idea where that was going to go. When they got greenlit for that second season, it showed the truth that they didn't even write that. They didn't know what they was doing. They didn't even know what they was doing. The second season is literally inconsistent to the first season. Pacing, tone, everything. The only thing consistent about the second season is the cinema photography. Don't make nothing good. They're not trying to do good. They're trying to socially engineer us. And once again, they made a Superman movie, and now everybody's talking about manga, whatever you want to call Donald Trump's cult group. I don't care. Now it's all about them because he makes some weird reference, and no, it's not Russia he's referring to in this film. He's clearly talking about Palestine, and he's clearly talking about Israel. And if you go back and watch the scene, you'll find that in the extra count, you'll have more women and children and young men than you find adults in that scene, because they're clearly trying to send a psychological message. And here's my thing. Oh, I don't care about your political message. Right? I don't care because you don't care. You don't care about those Palestinians. Don't. The world act like they care because that's a good front for them. But nobody really care. If people really cared, if you really cared, where would you be? You'd be there helping them, but you're not. You'd be breaking laws, but you're not. You'd be fighting, but you're not. So throwing shoehorn in there some weird thing about your viewpoint on the war over there, when you just sit back and watch all those people die every day and get off giving your opinion on something you don't want to do nothing about. All you want to do is talk about it. Why? Because it makes you look good, because you sound good, because you sound like you care. because you can form yourself into some person that's doing good without ever having to do good. You don't care. Just like James Gunn don't care. He don't care. This political. It's not. No. He's an immigrant. We love our immigrants. Meanwhile, he never mentioned he's an immigrant. Every white person in America is an immigrant to America. Why couldn't he just say that? Hey, man, I'm an immigrant. My ancestors came here to this land too. See me? I'm not an immigrant. I'm an immigrant with an E. I'm an immigrant with an E. I'm an immigrant with an E. I'm from here, America. You could trace my family beyond the 1800s right here. I got relatives that I knew that was born in the late 1800s. What do you mean? I'm from here. The only thing we did was migrate from the south to the north to the west. So when you get into this crazy thing where people are talking about this movie and trying to turn it into some political thing, like there's real political, there's no political heat in this film. I mean, there's not two layers of movie here. This is all on the surface. They're fake country names. Who cares if they're supposed to represent something that's supposed to be happening for real? Who cares? He didn't use the real names. Because they don't exist in his fictional world. So why are we incorporating this into ours? When we just see it as that, as oh, a fictional conflict in the film that may or may not resemble something that's happening in the real world, but it doesn't really matter because for the sake of the film, we need the hero to be heroic. So that's all the political in this film. Some have tried to say that Lex Luthor is some representation. He's no representation of Donald Trump. Stop it. Maybe if you're trying to say maybe James Gunn wanted that, but Nicholas Holt didn't deliver that. He delivered a mix of a Lex Luthor between a TV show Lex and a deranged Lex, then a comic book Lex and a cartoon Lex. He's like right there in the middle. He sort of amalgamated all these variations of Lex and found his own little place in the middle. But let's not pretend like Gene Hackman wasn't a goofball in Superman. He just was charming. Right? So let's just go a little bit further into this movie. I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't want to talk about this film all night because quite frankly, it's not worth it. Enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good for the movie. If you just want to see a Superman movie and get away from what usually is and you enjoy the way James Gunn does things, then you're gonna enjoy this film. There's just no way around that. If you're gonna sit down and put this into a film class and you're one of these artistic people that actually care about cinema, even if it is a comic book movie, no, you're probably not gonna like this movie. He breaks too many rules that we all know define if something is good or bad. Will this movie stand the test of time? Mm-hmm. If people keep dumbing down, if people's attention spans get shorter and shorter, if when on YouTube the biggest video you can find is of a Bigfoot from AI, that's the level of content that's being produced now, and you're complaining about this movie? What are you talking about? This movie is fine. Fine. It's not even deep. There's nothing in no. You can't go into the. You want to try to get into the conspiratorial and all that. There's none of that there. The symbolism is there. Yeah, your basic Masonic symbolism, numerology is all in it. Who cares? It's nothing new. It's not even special. At this point, everything in this movie has been done already. You know, they introduced Ultraman and they left out so much important information about the character, right? And it's not that they didn't shoot it; it's that he had to re-edit it. And for some reason, they said, "Okay, well, you got a runtime of 2 hours now, a little over 2 hours, something like that. That's your runtime." Oh, cool. We're gonna save the rest for the box set. Movies are dying anyway. Don't you realize that? Then can you not see? You ain't gonna be going to the theaters much longer anyway. That's gonna be like going to a museum. Go see a movie. Really? Yeah. They have a movie display over at the museum. Movies is going. It's gone. It's gone. They have found a whole new niche and they didn't tell nobody about it until it was way too late. And now that everybody's onto it, it's too late because they're the main force of it. And that's streaming. And they're gonna make all their money back on this Superman movie in the theaters and when they go to stream this. And they release these box sets and they show you that, oh my God, there's almost 2 hours worth of additional content. It makes it a wholly completely different movie. They learn it's Warner Brothers, right? So all they're gonna do, they still love Zack Snyder to some degree. If they didn't, they wouldn't allow him to help him on the film. Or even, yo, I worked on film. I'll tell you right now, you on certain scripts, you get the script, you ain't allowed to talk to nobody outside of that set. You gotta sign an NDA, man. They threaten you. They literally threaten you with lawyers. So if Warner Brothers, I don't, James Gunn is not bigger than Warner Brothers. Just remember that. If he was bigger than Warner Brothers, then he'd have his own studio and he wouldn't be going through Warner Brothers. They learned from, you know how much more money they made in the back end on the Snyderverse when they went ahead and released the Justice League. They never gave you all those streaming numbers. You know how many people? There was millions of people. There was so many people that signed the petition alone. Or every one of them was guaranteed people that watched it. But you could just stack on all the numbers when people go, oh, that was, they remade the movie. They did, oh, it's 4 hours long. Oh, just from the interest alone, they made that money back big time. Wow, they learned something. And you think every time Hollywood learns something that make them money, they go ahead and they incorporate it faster and faster and faster and faster. So if you don't think that this Superman's movie is gonna come, because remember, it's the same amount of controversy. Ain't nobody gotten him this Superman on right since Christopher Reeves passed away. Right? Because every so often in production, you get those magical connections where those people work so dynamically together that they all have the vision in their mind and they're able to bring that to life, right? But the rest of the time, it's total chaos and confusion. Rewriting and scrambling. Egos going berserk and not being able to say nothing because, in Hollywood, you say the wrong thing, no matter how righteous and right you are, they'll be like, that was really good of you, but you'll never work again after that. You will disappear from the whole scene. So if you're smart, you got to eat it. If you want to keep working, unless you nepotized, right? But as I go back into the Superman thing, I'm gonna just speed that up a little bit. So Superman ends up getting locked up in a pocket dimension. He's down in this pocket dimension. This makes no sense. We got Metamorpho or Element Man, whichever you decide to call him. Anyway, he's sitting there. His hands, he turns to kryptonite. It's weakening Superman. Lex Luthor brings the guy from earlier, the immigrant dude from earlier, Indian dude, and shoots him down there. And I'm like, oh, okay, now we're getting into the evilness of Lex Luthor really being, evil. But then that gets played off as a joke. It doesn't go that serious. He goes away for a long time. I'm thinking he's supposed to be torturing Superman. Oops, excuse me, guys. I just hit something in front of me. But I'm thinking he's supposed to be torturing Superman. He's supposed to be asking questions. Oh, this is the first time. Do you bleed? Like, give me a knife. Let's cut him. Let's stab him. Let me get some DNA from you. I'm going to do worse. I'm going to do more to you. I would figure he would do something to him, but he doesn't. And I don't understand how he kidnapped this guy's baby and has him down there. I don't understand any of this. These are just characters that are just introduced to us, and they're introduced to us in a way to where there was obviously more going here. He's not an idiot. James Gunn is not an idiot. I don't care if these people on YouTube and these other people that have contributed nothing to the field wants to say he's an idiot. Those that have contributed and call him an idiot, well, that's your opinion, and I'd love for you to leave a comment and explain to me why you find him to be an idiot. But I know the man is not an idiot, okay? The film was chopped up. Just like in all the gaming, nobody gets to make the game they want to make because they constantly have to trade off, right? They have to weigh that budget versus the outcome. They have to weigh that budget versus what they want to do and what is more important to be done, what best represents what the artistic vision is, and where can we cut some slack off from it because we can't really afford it. Right? And that's the whole dilemma of the film, right? The whole dilemma of this film is the editing was a mercy chopping. Whoever did this was like, I don't really want to kill this baby, but I need to make them think I did. That's how I feel about this. Cut this movie up, and he put it back together the best he could with removed scenes, and it's showing. Not my job to make excuses for James Gunn. It's a mid film. I feel like even when we get all the scenes, it's still going to be a mid film, right? Because these people they're good at what they do, but they're mid. Let's just call it. James Gunn didn't invent the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, he did it. He brought it to life. But at the end of the day, there were a lot of elements that made that so. And we can see that because when we watch the second one, it's slower, it's worse paced, it's not as entertaining. And by the time we get to the third one, okay, it's the send-off, but bro, what? We go into areas of darkness that was not necessary in that film. And it gets nonsensical with giant plot holes. So technically, he made one great Guardians of the Galaxy film. The other two are not great. Right? And he hit that on the head because one, he was giving, no, this is what happened in Hollywood. You want to make a great movie? Pitch something that nobody care about, but they got to make. See, that's the secret. It happened in Werewolf by Night. They didn't care about Werewolf by Night. They let him go. They was like, it's a project we need it done. Just make sure you have it by this date. Turned out to be one of the best things that Disney Plus actually brought from Marvel as far as a special or TV show is concerned. Period. End of story. Werewolf by Night. Nobody can argue that. And if you do, I mean, you can. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to retract that. You can argue that, and that is your right. I'd love for you to leave a comment on why you feel it wouldn't be the best. My point is, in my opinion, from my perspective, it is the best. And that's just where we're at. There was a lot of eyes on this film. You got executives, you got shareholders, you got a whole world of people that is involved in this movie, right? And they all had a stake in that film. And even though all of the film is rolling on his head, because for us, he's the head of the thing, the reality is he's not. Someone wrote his check. And the one who wrote his check is the one that gets the final say. Right? And Warner Brothers has a very long track record of letting executive producers put their fingers in when the director is trying to make a film. This is just a fact. They have been doing this for a very, very long time. Right? Zack Snyder's Snyderverse fell off the rail not just because of Zack Snyder. It fell off the rail because of the infinite amount of problems and pushbacks that he was getting from spinning, you know. And this is the real. If you, I dropped out for a second there. Excuse me, I'm working on it. The internet is a little in and out right now, but it's really one of the major problems with this film is that we're the trend that has been continuing in Hollywood for so long, right? And and this movie is disjointed in the fact of yes, it's coherent with A to B, right? But that A to B is completely nonsensical, right? It reminds me of like when we got to if you ever watch Game of Thrones and by the time you get to season 6 and 7 and 8, the things that took 3 and 4 and 5 episodes to build up to, like he's walking from here and going to King's Landing. They don't get there for 3 episodes because they're showing you the passage of time. The passage of time is so crucial in these kind of things. What make John Wick was fast moving, but the passage of time was there because we learned early on he was on the clock. He had to hurry. They had 24 hours. They were going to kill him. He had to go over here. We understood that. We could feel that through the movie, through his movements, through his running, through how the cinematography, all of these different elements brought us into this feeling that John Wick was under pressure. He wasn't this guy that was just in another set piece where they said you have 1 minute to escape and then we watch you for 10 minutes. Right? And so like and you could tell with the things with his father, with the like I'm gonna tell you the worst representation on there was Ma and Pa Kent. That was terrible. I mean, that wasn't even that was like a non-redneck trying to be a redneck. And I don't even want to say redneck. I mean, to be super honest with you, man, what would you call that? Intellectually deficient. Yeah. They seemed as if they were probably on disability, right? And I guess that was supposed to be like the later part of their lives, but they were poorly utilized and they were stupid and dumb and just downright dumb. His advice was stupid and almost meaningless. It didn't mean shit that you thought that father, first of all, adopted dad because the world wants me dead and off of the planet Earth. So can I get some advice? What should I do? Nah. Nah. I don't care what they think about you, son. I love you. You're the best in my eyes. Love you. And he starts bawling, and I'm like, bro, wait, time out, time out. You know, it feels like they're making fun of men for having feelings. These don't seem to be thought out moments of emotional outbursts in a man that could make the audience understand the importance to health. I'm really convinced of this at this point because even thinking about how they were slamming Superman on the ground, I mean, even the Justice League had no real respect for him. But he's been around for 3 years, but we don't see why they have no respect for them. We don't even see or where everybody else is. Why is there only 3 members in the Justice? Why are they the only ones there? Why couldn't we get a little exposition about everybody's on vacation or over in India? They went down to see Aquaman. I won't ask about Batman because Batman is in a limbo hell, and we won't get another real Batman until there's another political point they want to express to us. Once again, this last Batman played by Twilight, I didn't even appreciate it until I saw the Penguin. And it is confirmed he will not be the Batman from the Brave and the Bold that he's going to be doing. So I don't know. Matt Reeves is in his own universe right now. Right? Batman is completely connected to social engineering and how they view the public. When in the 90s, when we didn't really have no war, no enemies, man, Batman was a goofball, man. We was getting Val Kilmer and George Clooney pulling out credit cards, convincing people that they need to acquire more debt. Right? But then when we had the Patriot Act and the Twin Towers went down, by the way, I was on my way there that day. I'll tell you that story another day. But the when the Twin Towers went down, then we got the dark Batman. Batman Begins. Batman got grounded down to earth. Once we got past that and we got into this Obama phase, then we got Zack Snyder. Man, and still, can't you see? We got the it was in the air because, where the world was going. So where was you going to put Batman? We don't know. Then we got Robert Pattinson's Batman, which was the most no Batman I've ever seen in my life. He was the most non-Batman. You tell me, what did he solve in that whole film? Was it not Alfred that decoded it? Was it not Alfred that solved all the issues? Oh, just watch Batman Forever again, right? Tell me, it's so goofy, man. I can't believe I was like, man, when I was younger, I love that stuff, man. I was like, you go back and watch, you like, what in the world? What is this? Robert Pattinson's Batman was terrible. He was, he was brooding, he was sad, he wasn't even in the chicks. The Catwoman, she was weird and like, I don't know, she was supposed to be sexy and feminine, but yet we got no real sexy, feminine, nothing from her. I mean, she was obsessed with trying to kill her dad. I get that, but that went weird. Everything went weird in the movie. It had 2/3 acts. I'm sitting in the theater like, oh my God, what, the bomb blew up? I thought this movie was over. I'm ready to go home. I got to watch more of this? Oh my God, when is this movie going to be over? No action, no fighting. This is when he's supposed to be most active. He was active during this time. Go check the comics out. He was active, bro. He was, how you think? He was in them streets putting the work in. You could barely get through it, right? I'm telling you, me too. I loved it when I was young. I was like, it was, bro, listen. The Riddler with Jim Carrey, all that was, Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, remember though, because those movies back then, I realized what made those movies special. Val Kilmer made that movie special. George Clooney made that movie special. Jim Carrey made that movie special. These people, these movie stars, they don't make movie stars anymore. They make actors who attach to IPs. Why? Because they're easily controlled. A movie star has a say. Tom Holland don't got no say. Tom Holland will end up like Henry Cavill. We'll get rid of you. We'll find, and as long as the next guy looks like Peter Parker to us, we'll accept him. Killing all creativity. We don't care about the actors no more, so the craft don't matter no more. And if the craft don't matter no more, then they're able to pump out as much garbage as they want to. We accept it anyway. Even if you say you don't accept it, what about the other people that do? They're not gonna stop making it. And I'm gonna tell you another little secret. These bad movies, they are not making them for you, and they are not making them for me. They're making these movies for your kids and your kids' kids. While they wipe away the movies we grew up on by remaking them into oblivion and rebooting them into oblivion, so they will never see the original content. We know this is a fact because they've already pulled Die Hard. Die Hard's been pulled. What do you think of the? Oh, that new King. First of all, if you want to see Godzilla, just go watch what the Japanese did with the Godzilla film. Period. End of story. There's nothing else to say. It's the definitive Godzilla. That's Godzilla. This last one they made with them jumping on the pyramids of Egypt and turning him into Optimus Prime 8 version makes it's annoying. It's annoying. The giant battle down there was just stupid. And people in the middle of it, and this little heavenly girl flying up, and Mothra popping up wasn't exciting, but that was a nostalgia bait. It's like if you saw the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. When I saw that movie, I was so excited. I the first watch through was epic. Yeah, they did Egypt extremely dirty. Why did and then we got this guy over here pulling out monkey teeth? Like, let's stop that. They could fly through the unknown. It's ridiculous. He's shooting pink lasers out of his mouth. I'm like, bro, stop this. What are we doing? Why are you doing this? Makes no sense. But it's the same thing, like I was saying with the Deadpool and Wolverine film, right? I watch it. The first watch through of the Deadpool Wolverine was so exciting. I absolutely enjoyed it. So I go and watch it again. I'm like, okay, right? Because all the bits that I was like, I'm not doing anymore, right? I'm trying to find the second layer of the film, right? It's not there. No. I watched it the third time. There's no plot here. There's no story. This movie is actually missing a story. I mean, he literally just remade Deadpool 2 and 1 and put them together into one film and called it Deadpool. It's like literally nothing. There's nothing there. I can't even watch the movie anymore. Can't. Can't watch it. You know why? It's vapid. It's literally missing substance. The first one had more. I can watch the first one right now. The first one had more substance. It was more enjoyable. There was a second layer to the film. This was just a nostalgia bait. So that's my take. And it took me all over these different places. But this Superman movie, here's how I feel, and here's my. 'Cause really, there's nothing else to talk about. I can tell you that he got away, but I think you know that. But what else is there? I don't know. Like, I enjoyed the film. I thought it was wow. This was a really fun time Superman movie, and I can't wait to see Peacemaker season 2. I'm really curious now to see what he does with Supergirl. I think he might actually put more care into that because I'm really starting to think that Hollywood just hates men. Some would say, "Oh, I didn't speak on Mr. Terrific." That's right. Mr. Terrific he was okay. He wasn't terrific. He was just okay. I felt like as a character, when it came to him talking, I don't feel like his language actually matched his intellect. I get he's supposed to be black, and let's just. I thought his action scene was cool where he beat everybody up with, but I did not like the camera angle. I felt like we could have did way better with that camera, man. But I understand a lot of things was locked and static because, there's CGI rampant all over the place and stunt doubles constantly and need for angle changes and swaps, and it's like there's a lot of work went into this shot. I get that, but the CGI was just lacking because it was so bright in the color palette that they chose to use. It emphasized the CGI, the computer generated imagery. It emphasized it. It didn't add to it. It made it stick out like a sore thumb. So was it bad? Nah, it wasn't bad. But if we're going to compare it to some things, we can say that we know that's not the best they could have done. Maybe it's the best they could do with the budget that they had. And maybe that's the best we could get with the reshoots that they had to do and as much as the film they had to cut out. I'm not sure. Right? But it was cool. I felt like Lois geeking over that was okay. Like, oh, okay. She's like, he's terrific. But I would figure that he's been here. He hasn't been in hiding. He's a part of the Justice Gang slash Justice League. Why doesn't she know this about him already? She acts very nonchalantly, knowing that metahumans exist in the world that she's in. So why is she so shocked to see Mr. Terrific beat up some wannabe super soldiers? Somebody explain that to me. They were definitely wannabe super soldiers, not nothing to be actually impressed with. We didn't get a full demonstration of what their suits were actually capable of. We could have easily gotten something like that with just mere Lex in an office with a prototype suit explaining the amazing technology added to it and why they're so incredible. No, we just get a scene of them flying around in the sky and him talking to the government like, hey, you should hire me. My guys are the best. I don't know why, just because you see them flying around on a well doctored edited videotape that you came or video you came in there with. I don't know why that is the answer when it's the U.S. government and we got my man agent. I forget his name. Oh goodness, I don't know why I keep forgetting this guy's name, but I'll tell you like this: he's the father of dude who got killed in the Suicide Squad. His name keeps eluding me. Goodness, his name. Either way, he's in the movie, and this guy was also in Creature Commando, which was one of the shows, which shows it's all a tied, connected universe, right? And yeah, so if I had to give this movie a rating out of 10 stars, I'd give it an 8. I'd give it an 8. Give it an 8. You get a solid 8. You get a solid 8 for this. I'll tell you why it just gets an 8. Because I did enjoy it. Because it was fun for me. Because I've been wanting to see Superman fly for a little bit. And I don't like the CW show. So for me, this was a welcome event. I enjoyed it. Didn't hurt me. Didn't bother me none. He ain't say nothing offensive to me. I think this was the best depiction of Superman. Henry Cavill's Superman was the most realist depiction of Superman. But I feel like this is one of the more accurate depictions of Superman we've gotten in quite some time. Who has heart, who seems to be fun. And I love the dog. I have 2 dogs, and I like the dog. If you don't like dogs, I get it. You're not going to like this dog. But anybody that's had dogs and dealt with dogs that can be a little unruly because they're so full of love and have such big hearts, then you wouldn't understand this. But if you have, then my God, that was such a treat to see Krypto on screen behaving in such a fashion. I truly enjoyed that. you know. But that's my review of Superman. There were some things I left out, you know, depending on how this do and what people say when I post this later. I will, you know, come back to this and address any other things about the Superman, depending on the interaction I get about it. Because I did, like I said, I enjoyed it. You know, it's like Fast and Furious. You know, I can enjoy the Fast and Furious movies because I just go in there. I like cars, and I don't go in there for a plot. I don't believe there is a plot in there to be had. Even if they say there is, I don't believe them. So I just go watch the movie to see the cars do what I used to do with Hot Wheels when I was a kid, right? And I have a great time. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna have to stop going to these movies, right? It's 111, y'all. Miracles are happening for you right now. Let's just take 1 second to take a deep breath.